So, good afternoon, everybody. Now, recent years, almost I think annually, our gathering. So, thank our organizer. Then many of you, a long time our friend, quite familiar. And there are some of them, I think new. So those persons who sort of first sort of as they experience this meeting, raise hand. Quite some. Okay. Then I always describe myself as a, firstly, Buddhist monk, then deeper way, simply one human being. So I'm one of the 7 billion human beings. There are no differences. Emotionally, mentally, physically also, we are same. Then most important, we everyone, 7 billion human beings, want happy life. And I think 7 billion human beings also have the ability, you see, to keep peace of mind, no matter what circumstances. So, it is quite useful and important to know more about the inner world, particularly mind and emotion, in order to develop peaceful mind. We need more fuller knowledge about mind, about emotion. Once we develop better knowledge, then we get more ability to tackle these destructive emotions. So main purpose of our gathering is to discuss about mind, emotions, these things. So that part, I think, can be universal. Whether believer or non-believer, same human being, same potential. And everybody wants a happy life, peaceful mind. So, first my commitment is promoting inner peace through secular way, not necessarily faith or belief. And then second, of course, those people who have certain sort of faith. It's very useful, you see, use the faith to keep peace of mind whenever you face some problem. Then those according to theistic religion, then remember God. Very helpful. Then, as a non-theistic way, non-theistic religious people use common sense and a realistic approach. Then you have the ability to keep peace of mind. And then, of course, like Buddhism, Jainism, and one part of Sankhyaism, their concept is law of causality. So, thinking this line, also very, very helpful to keep peace of mind. So, I think here, my talk, I think at the beginning, I may mention some discussion about the different major religious tradition, in spite different philosophy, different history, all carry the same message of love or compassion, like that. Then, within different faith, the Buddhism, and within Buddhism, I think mainly Pali tradition is the foundation of Buddha Dharma, and then Sanskrit tradition. We Tibetan Buddhist tradition directly come from Nalanda tradition. So, Pali tradition as the basis. Then on top of that, the Sanskrit tradition, much emphasis about infinite altruism and understanding about deeper reality that we call shunyata. So that these texts, you see, dealing with that subject. At the beginning, I want to read the prayer to 17 Nalanda masters, which I composed. Previously, 8 sort of Nalanda masters. Then I felt like Buddha Palita, Chandakirti, Viveka, and Shandadeva, these are not mentioned, not included. So I felt the text of these scholars very, very important. So therefore, I add more.
9 more.
9 more. So altogether, 17 Nalanda masters. So now, first, let us
recite.
Read that.
Should I start? Okay. The God of gods arise from the compassionate wish to benefit wandering beings. Please say together. Has attained transcendent protection, abandonment, and realization, and liberates sentient beings through teaching dependent arising. I bow my head to you, the conqueror, son amongst teachers. I call to mind esteemed Nagarjuna, who, as prophesied, introduced the Madhyamaka system, the excellent path, and who was skilled in clarifying the meaning of suchness, free from extremes, the intention of the mother of the conquerors, through the profound logical presentation of dependent arising. I call to mind the Bodhisattva, Aryadeva, his principal spiritual son, peerlessly learned and accomplished, who traversed the ocean of Buddhist and other philosophical systems, who is the glorious crowning jewel amongst all the holders of Nagarjuna's teachings. I call to mind esteemed Buddha Palita, who clarified the ultimate meaning of dependent arising, the thought of the superior, the essential point of the profound existence as mere designation and name, and who has ascended to the utmost state of accomplishment. I call to mind Acharya Bhav Vivek, who introduced a philosophical system that refuted such extremes as truly existent production and accepted the shared perception of valid cognizers and external objects. I call to mind Chandrakirti, who promulgated the complete path of the sutras and tantras, who was skilled in expounding the profound and the vast middle way system, in which appearance and emptiness eliminate the true extremes through dependent arising and the merely conditional nature of things. I call to mind the Bodhisattva Shantidev, who was skilled in teaching the host of fortunate disciples the truly marvelous path of great compassion, with the versatile means and reasons of the profound and the vast. I call to mind the great Abbot Chandarakshit, who introduced the middle way to suit the disciples' mental dispositions, was well versed in the expounding the rationale of the middle way and valid cognition, and disseminated the teaching of the conqueror in the land of snows. I call to mind the esteemed Kamalashil, who thoroughly explained how to meditate systematically on the middle way through thought free from existence and the union of meditative quiescence and spiritual insight according to the sutras and tantras, and flawlessly clarified the conqueror's doctrine in the land of snows. I call to mind esteemed Asanga, who Maitreya inspired and looked after, who was adept in disseminating all the Mahayana sets of discourses, who revealed the vast path and, as prophesied, blazed the trail of the mind-only system. I call to mind esteemed Acharya Vasubandhu, who, by maintaining doubly empty system of 7 treatises of the Abhidharma, clarified the philosophical theories of Vaibhashik, Sautrantikas, and Vijnanavadas, the former sage, renowned as a second omniscient one. I call to mind esteemed Dignaga, the logician who gave us the discerning eye of fine discrimination by thoroughly opening 100 epistemological doors to reveal the system of Buddha's scriptures through the power of natural logic. I call to mind esteemed Dharmakirti, who fathomed the vital points of Buddhist and other systems of knowledge, granting conviction in the vast and profound path of Sautrantika and Chittamatra, and who was adept in expounding the marvelous ways of the Dharma. I call to mind esteemed Vimuktisena, who lit the lamp illuminating the meaning of the ornament of clear realization in accordance with the middle way system, free from the extremes of existence and non-existence, the meaning of the perfection of wisdom as it came from the Asanga brothers. I call to mind esteemed Haribhadra, who clarified the 3 mothers, the supreme perfection of wisdom scriptures, in line with Maitreya-Nath's pith instructions, and who the conqueror prophesied would expound the meaning of the mother. I call to mind esteemed Gunaprabha, excelling in stability and learning, who integrated the intentions of 100,000 categories of Vinaya and, in accordance with the Sarvastivadana system, thoroughly and unmistakably explained individual liberation. I call to mind esteemed Shakyaprabha, the ideal Vinaya holder, master of the treasure of the 3 precepts qualities, who, in order to ensure the longevity of the flawless Vinaya teaching, thoroughly explained what the vast scriptures meant. I call to mind Jo Atisha, the kind Lord who caused the conqueror's teaching to flourish in the land of snows, who expounded in the paths of the 3 individuals the doctrines of the vast and the profound that are the complete teaching of the conqueror, making such invocations with an unflinchingly pure mind to these exceedingly fine sages, who are the ornaments for the world and the source of stupendous, elegant teachings. May I be blessed that I may mature my mind stream and achieve liberation. By understanding the meaning of the 2 truths, the way things exist, we ascertain through the 4 truths how we arrive in and how we leave the cycle of existence. Engendered by valid cognition, our faith in the 3 refuges will be firm. May I be blessed to establish the root of the path to liberation. I call to mind. May I be blessed to perfect an uncontrived awakening mind of bodhicitta, which is rooted in renunciation, the aspiration to liberation, and the total purification of suffering and its sources, and that boundless compassion that wishes to protect wandering beings. May I be blessed to be able to develop a quick and easy conviction about the profound paths on the paths of perfection of wisdom and the Vajrayana, by listening to, contemplating, and meditating on the meaning of the commentaries of the great pioneers. May I, in life after life, obtain the good basis of a human life, possessing the 3 precepts, and contribute to the doctrine as the great pioneers did, with respect to upholding and propagating the words and insights of the teachings through explanation and practice. May all religious assemblies be filled with noble sages and practitioners, passing their time in hearing, contemplation, and explanation. and having totally given up wrong livelihood, may the ground of this great world be adorned in this way. By such power, may all the grounds and paths of the sutras and tantras be traversed, and by quickly achieving the state of an omniscient conqueror, spontaneously fulfilling the two purposes, may I work for sentient beings as long as space remains.
렉자 시카시고 시하고 주는 나선데 하셨대. In case some Sanskrit word, I think awesome. I think. So now these great Nalanda masters, one way, all these are bhikshu. So Buddhist practitioner. But from the viewpoint of their knowledge and the way pursue truly scholar, thinkers, and the way to investigate, since Buddha himself, you see, told his disciple, "O my follower, bhikshus and scholars should not accept my teaching out of faith, out of devotion, but rather thorough investigation and experiment." So the follower of Buddha, like Nagarjuna and the Chantakirti, you see, they actually examine Buddha's own word, certain Buddhist sort of teaching, some text. So they investigate. If you accept literally some Buddhist teaching, it contradicts with the reasons, so they reject. Although this is Buddha's word, Buddha's teaching, but we should not accept literally. So from that aspect, Buddha and his follower consider as a scientist, they emphasize importance of investigation and experiment, not faith. So usually I describe these 17 masters of Nalanda. I usually describe professors of Nalanda. Truly, firstly, I think their language, Sanskrit language, top class. Then the way think, investigation, purely logical way, and experiment, not just faith. So these are, I think, not only ancient sort of teaching or master, but I think today's world, I think their sort of way of investigation, I think very relevant to today's world. And then all those masters which I mentioned and their followers, I think hundreds, all are Indian, not Tibetan. So we usually call India as a sacred land, right? Habayu, Sugwarada. Arya land. So I just learned through one talk or conversation, the Aryan land, actually in Iran. So Arya Bhumi, start Iran. So, anyway, and because the new civilization,
The three
ah,
Indus Valley civilizations.
Indus Valley civilization is related with this area, like that. So, in any way, this country, I think, really produce many thinkers, very scientific way of thinking. And we Tibetan simply, learned from you. So I usually describe Indians, our teacher, our guru. We are Chela, student. Then sometimes I teasing my Indian friends. Ancient Indian, not modern Indian. Ancient Indians, our guru. Modern Indian, not very sure. I think most of modern Indian leaders educated either in England or America in this area. Nalanda, Takshishila, Vigamalashila, Brigamalashila, all these now ruined. Nothing there. Then, of course, many spiritual leaders here, I think they completely carry pujas and rituals. I think not adequate pay attention about study. These ancient, very complex philosophical views. I think that, I think we, Tibetan Buddhist tradition, I think we kept that still alive. In order to become authentic sort of scholar, you need 20, 30 years rigorous study. So, in this country, I think Buddhists and non-Buddhists, I think should pay more attention about study, learning. That's very important. Otherwise, you see, the modern education, modern technology, these year by year further sort of develop. Then traditional sort of knowledge, remain the simple way, worship and ritual. I think must uplift through study, through debate. It is very, very important. Then modern Indian also can be our guru. At the present sort of level, I think difficult to accept as a guru. So then also you see when you sort of read, you see these masters. Our main sort of text is wrote by these masters. The root text we memorize, including myself. Of course, officially, Dalai Lama, reincarnation of Chenresi, they put me on throne. But as far as study is concerned, I carry study, just a normal student. So my tutor always keep one whip. So it is unthinkable, whip for our Lugudishwara, impossible. So you see, they consider me as one young student. So my tutor kept one whip. At that time, so my elder brother also used to study together. So 2 whips, one for me, one for my brother. So difference is, my whip is yellow. yellow color. So suppose holy whip. I have sort of sufficient sort of intelligence. Even holy whip use, I don't think any holy pen. Simply pen. So I afraid. So that way, you see, we start study. Firstly, memorize all these root texts. In my case, age, I think 6, 7, already start memorizing. Then, of course, at that time, I have no interest. My only interest is play, nothing else. So then age about 10. Then memorizing commentary. You see, these root texts. Then I think age 12 or 11. I think 12. Then start debate. So Dakse, Riglum Dakse.
Debate, dialectical debate.
Dialectical debate. So then, I think till 24 years, I can study. I think around 15, 16, then some interest within myself. Then carry more study. But then the political situation also used to become a little bit difficult. Then my visit Peking, and then in 56 came to India. So as far as my study is concerned, a little disturbances like that. But then after they, according English was that, because of sorry that. The long
So at the age of 24, according to the Western calendar.
Final examination, 1959. And then things become out of control, escape, then reach India. Then I re-study, reviewed study. And many of these master's text, then I start to read and think. So till now, whenever I have opportunity, sufficient time, I always read these masters sort of writing. So there is Tibetan saying,
so it is said that if you read a text 9 times, you'll gain 9 different understandings.
So that's very true. And the history book, read once, finished. These philosophical books, read, think, again read. You see, your understanding become deeper. And then also you see, like these among these sort of scholars, among themselves, all are follower of Buddha. Lot of debate. Even generations. One master states something, then another master has opposed that. Then their disciple also, you see, carry continuously these debate with different views. So reading, now for example, the Nagarjuna's student, the Buddhapalita. Then after that, Bhavabhiga raised a lot of questions and critics about Buddhapalita's sort of writing. Then after that, Chandakirti raised all those critical views and then answer. So you see, read all those different texts because of the different views, and debate It's immense help, you see, to get deeper understanding. Read just one book and then accept whatever they say as almost blind faith. That's not Nalanda tradition. Read different views, different argument, then think, analyze. That's the Nalanda tradition. So we Tibet also, you see, those bigger, also the learning center, monastic institution, they carry that tradition. So within Tibetan masters, a lot of sort of debate. It's very good, very helpful. Now that is our way. So Tibetan Buddhism is actually authentic Nalanda Buddhist tradition. Some people, you see, describe Tibetan Buddhism as a Lamaism. I think including myself, Dalai Lama, and also Degul Rinpoche, I think we usually, you see, become something significant in the society. And many lamas, you see, have some kind of special privilege in the society. So reincarnation is almost become social sort of status. Right? Not take measure about their knowledge or their experience. Simply high throne, then people say, oh, high Lama. Silly. Out of ignorance, I think. All these Nalanda masters, and also the Tibetan masters, all come from ordinary level, then study, practice, like that. So some way, I think, the popular survey, public level, I think, due to lack of understanding, lack of knowledge, just, you see, consider the position like that. So, I think some Western visitors, you see, Tibet, they found in Tibet society, the Lama position is something very, very important. So therefore, eventually they call Lamaism. And also some high Lama with wife, drink, unlike Burma, Sri Lanka, Thai Buddhist. So then they give the name Lamaism. So actually, Tibetan Buddhism, as I mentioned earlier, truly Nalanda tradition, the person who introduced Buddha Dharma in Tibet, 8th century, Shantarakshita, is a follower of Nagarjuna, great logician. I think as far as scholarly, I think Shantarakshita, Kamalashila, I think more sort of scholarly sort of writing. Then I think Atisha. Chunjung Jasa Samarwe. Chunjung Jasa, the Mingdi Chunjung Solution, Pejadi Chunjung Solution. So Atisha sort of writing, small writing, not big sort of the text like Shantarakshita and Kamalashila. Really, very hard text, very difficult. We need a lot of effort, a lot of read, again, think, otherwise it's difficult. So that is introduction about Tibetan Buddhism. Then, through my own experience, now last over 30 years, I have serious sort of discussion with scientists in different fields. Cosmology, neurobiology, physics, particularly quantum physics, then psychology. When we discuss with scientists, of course, we never study science, but when we sit together and discuss, the meaning is already quite familiar, and we can discuss also equal level. Wonderful. Many scientists now, after 30 years, sort of acquaintance, many scientists really appreciate ancient Indian psychology. They really appreciate. So many occasions I express it. Now you Indian should pay more attention about your ancient knowledge. Very, very important. Very important. So I hope it's a serious study about ancient Indian logics and psychology and different philosophical thinkings. I think really worthwhile study. I hope you see eventually some institution, especially for that subject, I think should come. Then eventually it can be international learning center like that. Not necessarily Buddhist, but as an academic subject. Non-believer also they can join. These are universal sort of knowledge, right? Universally sort of related. So therefore, out of the 300 volumes which translated from India, about 15, 20 translated from Chinese language. The rest, 300 volumes, all from India. So we, compiled. The content, these 300 volumes, divided 3 parts. Science of mind, science of matters, only science. No concept of good or bad, simply what's the reality. That we can consider as a science. Then second part, philosophy, certain concept. For example, truth. So many scientists really loves these sort of philosophical views, truth on the basis of appearances, on one truth, ultimate reality. Very good. The Four Noble Truths, more related with Buddha Dharma. But true truth is something universal. And then the concept of impermanence. These also, now atomic level, you can see momentarily changing. Impermanent, momentarily changing. So that is second part. The third part, as a Buddhist religion or Buddhist as a Buddhist practice. So the first part now last, I think over 2 years. We worked now completely compiled the first part. So now within this month we start English translation, Hindi translation, and Chinese translation. Then simultaneously Mongolian translation also they promised. Then eventually I think Korean translation, Japanese translation will follow. Once English translation finished, then Spanish translation, French translation, German translation, Italian translation, I think Italian translation, my long-time friend. So I think we'll may happen, right? May happen like that. So, so I wish eventually in this country, the first part of science about mind, about matter. I think matter is concerned, the last 20 years, 30 years, become very, as a result of contact with modern scientists, it become very clear as far as matter is concerned. Learning from scientific finding is immense benefit to us. Although matters also mentioned like Abhidhamma and some other text, but quite because of the grosser level. The modern sort of science, highly developed. Now, for the inner science, or science of mind, emotion is concerned, Western psychology is something like a kindergarten level. Ancient Indian psychology, highly developed. So many Western scientists really appreciating. So they are very, very eager to get more information like that. So once they said that books, so in, translation finished, completed, and I think some of your institution can use. Right? So that is as a kasota, manzo chelak kikenliya kasoti, kasoti tukjili bishya.
So this is kind of a paying a token of gratitude from the Chela side to the gurus.
Oh. So logically, it is really our moral responsibility. We kept over 1,000 years all those ancient Indian knowledge. So this the original owner of this knowledge is Indian, not Tibetan. So you should learn these things. You should revive these things. Now the first, as a human being, human level, we really need effort to educate, to promote awareness, the ultimate source of happy life, joyful life is within ourselves. Now scientists also say healthy mind is very, very important for healthy body. I think some extent, except my knees problem, my peace of mind, not much help. My knees. Otherwise, basic sort of physical condition, blood pressure, all these, I think peace of mind really makes differences. Recently, one Nobel laureate meeting, some of my old friends, some Nobel laureates together. So then we just, you see, during lunchtime, we talk, sort of all everything, so all sorts of things, nonsense, right? Casual talk, or gossip. Or, and then we touch age. And I asked that Nobel laureate his age. About, I think, beginning 70 or something. Then I mentioned, now my age, now nearly 79 or 78. He doesn't believe. No, must be wrong. Then I told, no. The year my birth, 1935. He still refused, no, must be wrong. So he felt, judging my face, much younger than 78. So many of my friends, in spite, in some cases, now for example, this old monk, he spent 18 years in Chinese Gulag, a lot of torture. But his mind very peaceful because he always remember or practice compassion, particularly compassion towards Chinese because of perpetrators. So once we met, he told me during 18 years, a few occasions he faced some danger. I asked him, what kind of danger? Then he answered me, danger of losing compassion towards perpetrator. Because such mental attitude really keeps peace of mind, no matter how difficult lives. So afterward, we mentioned, you see, our scientific meetings. And then some scientists want to interview or test some of these ex-prisoners. And afterward, after they sort of test or interviewed, they found there is no sign of trauma. Very peaceful mind. So although you see they difficult life, but there is possibility to keep peace of mind. So result, physical, also you see they're more healthier like that. So as far as sort of they keep more warm-heartedness or sense of concern of others' well-being, from birth, we equip that. We come from our mother. We received maximum affection from our mother with mother's milk. Everybody, 7 billion human beings, come that way. So those people, anyone who received immense affection from mother, they already have the seed of compassion, sense of affection to other. So therefore, this is not depend on religious faith. So long, human being, social animal, come from mother, grown up with mother's affection. So we all have the potential. Only problem is when we are young, these experiences are very, very sort of relevant. Gradually grown up, we get the feeling, oh, I can manage everything myself, not depend on other. Then I think, on top of that, existing modern education, not talking about this inner value. Existing modern education system is oriented about material value. So then gradually whole generation who come from that kind of education is, I think they oriented sort of a materialistic oriented life or way of thinking, way of life, a culture. So then all these potential becomes dormant. So here, education include on the basis of scientific finding and of common experience and of common sense, educate. Then the seed, with help of human intelligence, then can grow further. The biological factor of compassion is biased, very much oriented about your own friends or close people, right? And very much oriented about their attitude. Even your mother or brother one day attitude change, then no longer affection. Now through using our intelligence and understanding, we are a social animal. Individual's future depends on the society. The society's future depends on the nation, or ultimately humanity. So use our intelligence, educate the reality. Global warming and the ecology problems, and then global economy. All these now telling us 7 billion human beings must work together. Full cooperation. The serious sort of threat or danger, and population also now increasing. When I first come to India, population 6 billion, now 7 billion. According to some statistics, say end of this century, population will reach 10 billions. Nature resources already showing some limitation. So problem will increase. So now, I think thinking, my nation, my community, I think that out of date, old thinking. In ancient time, small group, okay. Now that completely changing. So we have to, for selfish reason, for your own interest, you have to take care seriously about interest of the community, interest of the entire, ultimately entire humanity. So through education, we can teach younger generation. So through education, then at the beginning, the biological factor, affection, there. Now grown up through education, that further develop the biological factor, compassion towards your friends. With help of intelligence, the further develop, then that level of compassion is aiming humanity, not my friend or my relative, but humanity. So then including your enemy. Enemy, as far as the attitude is concerned, negative, but still part of the community, part of the humanity. So they also deserve our affection. So use human intelligence through that way, I think. So now in education field, we must sort of include some education about moral ethics. Now, in the terms of humanity, over 1 billion are non-believer. So there is no other alternative except, again, ancient Indian sort of culture or secularism. Indian constitution based on secular. So according to Indian understanding, secular does not mean disrespect religion, but respect all religions. Now, for example, the father of India's constitution, Dr. Ambedkar, very religious-minded. Later he became Buddhist. And I think Dr. Krishna, my Dr. Rajendra Prasad, very religious-minded. And Mahatma Gandhi, all these freedom fighters, great leaders of India, all very religious-minded. But they create constitution based on secularism. So according to Indian understanding, secular never sort of some kind of meaning of distance from religion or disrespect. So one unique thing, not only respect all religion, but also respect non-believer. One clear example, Charvaka, ancient materialistic or nihilism, denying any value of spirituality. So, rest of Indian school of thought criticize Charvaka's view. But meantime, person who hold that concept refer rishi, means sage. So that indicates respect. One time, Advani, we discussed about that, about the reason why very successful democratic practice in this country. Sometimes I think too much democracy, too much freedom. Then lot of time used for debate little things, neglect about bigger issues. So he told me this example, Charvaka, the rest of spiritual tradition, criticize, sometimes condemn, but meantime respect. So that's the 1,000-year-old India's tradition of secular. Respect not only religious tradition, different religious tradition, but also respect non-believer. I think that's very, very relevant to today's world. As I mentioned earlier, over 1 billion human beings, non-believer. So quite a big number. And also it's important. They are also human beings. They also deserve our compassion, our love. So that's my number one commitment. Now we already, with help of full cooperation with some scientists, some brain specialists, some medical scientists, some thinkers, some educationists. Now in Delhi University, also now, since a few years, we seriously discussing these things. So now India, I think our Indian gurus, Indian brothers, sisters, should think revalue survey, revalue, reevaluate ancient 1,000-year-old India's tradition. Not rituals, these things. That's okay, carry continuously, but deeper rituals.
Values now.
Value.
Now to value them.
The value of ancient Indian knowledge now must make clear and pay more attention. And then religious harmony. Again, India is the living example. Not only ancient time, over 3,000 years, homegrown different religious tradition lived together. Some argument, that's good. The further develop, synthesize and further develop. That's good. Then later, Judaism, Zoroastrianism, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam also come. Very well settled. I always admire in Bombay, the Parsi community, nowadays less than 100,000 population, very small, among millions of Hindus like that, Christians. No fear. And a small Parsi community, very successful, isn't it? And economically, and also one India's hero, Manekshaw, also Parsi, isn't it? So I think in various fields, I think from small community, I think they really made significant contribution for India like that. So that's India. So no fear. Then recently I met Jodhpur. I met one Romanian. He carries some research work, the religious harmony in this country. He visited one Muslim village, must be a few thousand population. So he found only 3 Hindu family, no fear, completely, very friendly, sort of, because of the relations. So that's India. Of course, pockets here and there, some problems. That's understandable. Over 1 billion population, some mischievous people must be there. So that's understandable. But basically, I think very, very healthy. So, India is a living example. I think the second most populated nation. First, China. India, I think second. And 1,000 years religious harmony remain. So there are other part of the world also, you see, I think can adopt that kind of practice. I think our immediate neighbor, Pakistan, and also Bangladesh, and also Burma, I think we should learn from India's tradition. In Pakistan, Muslim country, but you see Sunni and Shia problems there. So sometimes I jokingly sort of expressing, those Pakistan Shia community better come to India and settle here, no danger. In Islam country, Pakistan, more danger, isn't it? So I always mention when I give talk, whenever I give talk about religious harmony, I always mention India is a living example. So nowadays, you must realize that it also is your ancient treasure. Now you must make effort to grow this tradition further. Very, very important. So religious harmony. Now here, religious harmony does not mean all religion carry sort of same concept. No. We can make distinction, 2 aspects. Any tradition, spiritual tradition, the practice or real sort of teaching aspect. Then philosophical views, one aspect. Then I think could be another aspect, that's cultural aspect. So real religious aspect, all major religions carry same message of love. And all tradition recognize in order to practice love because of the continuously. All religion accept obstacle. That's anger. So all religion teach us tolerance, forgiveness. And also too much greed, ambition, also you see obstacle about practice of infinite love. So therefore, all religion mention contentment. Many Hindu priests or Jain priests, then also Christians or Islams, Muslims, their life, serious practitioner, their life, very simplicity. I think President Pope, I think really emphasizes that. I think wonderful. I really admire his recent, dismissal one German bishop. I think wonderful, wonderful. I think among Tibetan also, I think we need some kind of disciplinary action. Some lamas, some sort of geshis little bit luxurious, I think we should follow His Holiness Pope's sort of practice. Isn't it, Vijay? Right? So, so they all majorly tradition carrying practice of love, forgiveness, tolerance, and with that serving other people. I think in that respect, I think Christian brothers, sisters, I think really, Christian, both Catholic and Protestant, I think really made maximum contribution regarding education all over the world. I noticed some remote area in India where facility poor, but we can see some Christian nuns really devoted work in the field of education and health. So there are sort of such willpower come from their tradition. They really feel serving poor people is the right way serving God. And my Muslim friend mentioned one true as a practitioner of Islam must extend love towards entire creature of Allah. Wonderful, wonderful. So the religious aspect, practice aspect, all carry same practice. That's important. Now for that for sort of strengthening that practice, the philosophical views then come. Philosophical view, yes, theistic religion, their central sort of faith is Creator. That also very powerful. We all created by God. So that also indicates we all have one way. We all human beings are truly brothers, sisters, come from same source. And then secondly, since we created by God, each of us have some kind of spark of God. So Buddhists call Buddha nature, Buddha seed. Quite similar. Entirely different way of thinking, or different philosophy. But you see, the same effect. The more you have sort of single-pointed faith, God, the more willingness to follow God's path. That's practice of love. And also, it's one time in Israel, so one meeting, one Israeli, as a teacher, he mentioned as a teacher, and he taught in his class, some Palestinian student also there, he mentioned those students who feel some sort of agitated feeling, then the person, usually you get some agitation, they think image of God. So after he sort of give that sort of teaching, then later some of his student, Palestinian student, report him after hearing that when they come across some Israeli checkpost, usually you get some irritation, then think image of God. Immediately, isn't that irritation? You see, because of that. Disappear. So very, very powerful. Very powerful. And then one time my Christian spiritual brother, I asked him, if you accept the previous life, and what is wrong? Then he answered me, this very life created by God. Very powerful. So this very life, you see, you call soul, this very soul directly come from God. So that brings very strong sort of intimacy feeling with God. So more sort of closeness feeling with God, more willingness to follow the God's sort of pattern or example. That's what love. God means infinite love. Okay. Then, non-theistic religion, of course, no concept of creator. So, according to the theistic religious viewpoint, then we non-theistics, we follow of non-theistic religion is very sinful. Marve. And our next destination is go hell. But we believe, you see, non-theistic religious follower aiming Buddhahood. So big contradictions, big different views. But that's personal business. One time, you see, one Christian Catholic monk, wonderful monk. So he used to practice some Buddhist technique like compassion or forgiveness, tolerance, or single-pointed meditation. So these are common things, so we discuss. One day he asked me about emptiness. Then I told him, that's not your business. That is Buddhist business. Don't ask that. And recently, last year in Bangalore, I met one sort of the a Hindu spiritual organization, and the leader, wonderful. I can't remember their name. You see, they really committed providing meal for thousands students in that area. So they built special sort of mission, making meals like that, and special sort of made truck. They carry food like that. Wonderful. So in their temple, so we together some prayer. Then he asked me, I think some discussion, some talk. Then I told him, yes, Buddhism and Hinduism is like twin brothers, sisters. Practice of shamatha, same. Practice of vipassana, also basically same. And shila, shamatha, vipassana, all three training. Lamasum. Shila, samadhi, pranja. Basically same. Then I told him, the real demarcation, Hindus or non-Buddhists and Buddhists, is concept of Atma and Anatma. So that is private business. I believe Anatma, you believe Atma, so no problem. Like that. So I always look, what is the purpose of these different philosophy? And same. Develop firm conviction, practice of love, compassion. No problem. So, then cultural aspect. Even Buddhism usually is completely equal. Buddha deliberately, you see, what's the because of the oppose caste system. And that even Chairman Mao Zedong, 1954, 55, I was in Peking. One occasion, Mao Zedong, as he told me, he considered Buddha Shakyamuni was a revolutionary. So existing sort of social injustice, Buddha opposed that. So he mentioned that. However, in the when you say monk, Buddha is give equal sort of opportunity, equal right, men and women, bhikshu and bhikshuni. However, when we together, the bhikshu consider higher, bhikshuni lower. That, and then meantime, in Tantrayana, the special emphasis, if you sort of look down female, one kasoda,
One of the tantric downfalls.
one
Yeah,
tantric,
you commit
oh,
one of the
tantric,
tantric downfalls.
oh, love that.
So if you despise women in tantra, it's considered to be one of the tantric root downfalls.
So therefore, you see, basically, you see, they equal. Oh. So there's some sort of discrimination when we're together. So that I feel a cultural aspect, the social sort of kasoda, heritage in India. You see, men, little bit of men kasoda, dominance. That's everywhere, except on a small island in Pacific. I was told, which, you know, maybe that, I don't know. One small island, small population. There, mother is supreme. All decision taken by mother, female, I was told. Otherwise, you see, I think everywhere, male dominance is there. So that, I think, cultural aspect. Just this morning, some Indian friends with some discussion. So I mentioned, like Islam, the Sharia, sort of some detail, what's it, kasoda, chimcha, rules. I think at that time, in that part of the world, more nomadic life. So it's some criminal people there. So you see, in the Quran also is mentioned. You see, according to that sort of circumstances, so it becomes something important. Then also the Quran also is mentioned how to deal with feudal, the slave. So because of the circumstances, so cultural aspect of that religion, you see, the existing sort of kasoda habit, you see, include. So like that. Then also I think the Judaism also, I think, eye to eye, nose to nose, isn't it? If your eye is something suffering, then take other's eye. Looks, you see, no practice of tolerance or forgiveness. But this, I think, we must make distinction. The real teaching and cultural aspect. So now the important, why I make this distinction is cultural aspect. The society changing, mainly through education, changing. So like India, untouchable sort of these things are sort of old-fashioned. The caste system, old-fashioned. Cultural aspect now must change. The new reality, new time, some of the old sort of cultural heritage must change. I think including Buddhism. Of course, I cannot decide. The Buddha only exception himself. He have the sort of free to do this, to give kasoda commands, precepts to his follower monks. No one have the right to change that. Only gathering. Sangha have the authority change. No single. So that's why you see the bhikshunis, some Westerners, you see, complaining to me, you have the right, authority to decide. That's out of ignorance. I have no authority. Change some Vinaya rule. We must follow according to the Vinaya sort of text. And if we want change, then because of the scholars, bhikshu scholars, come together and discuss. So then this, even I think Tibetan bhikshu alone will not decide, since the Vinaya practice is common. Theravada tradition, Mahayana tradition, all Vinaya same. So we need some kind of international Buddhist bhikshus conference and then decide some change. Otherwise, you see, you can't do. So in any way, I think we need certain precept, certain practice, which develop due to certain circumstances, cultural heritage. I think some part, I think we have to rethink. So other religious tradition also, I think, now time come to think. So some debate, the female priest, some discussions, Church of England, female priest, yes. Recently in Washington Cathedral, the main Archbishop or something. Sorry, because Acharya.
Episcopal bishop.
Oh, bishop, female. Wonderful. So you see the things, you see now some topics now, some issues, these things. I think we should think, make distinction. Religion, real practice, then philosophical, that also you see, I think more or less, I think we must follow the authentic way. Then the cultural aspect, different circumstances, different area, I think we have to make some modification. That we can do. Okay. So basically, all major religious tradition, you see, carry same message, same effect. We can see about billion Christians, about billion Muslims. I think about 600 or 700 Hindus, and then a few hundred millions of Buddhists. Basically, if we sincerely follow, sincerely, seriously practice, then same effect, same potential. And then also, I often is telling people, not only non-believer, but even among believer, there are quite a number of corrupted believer there. So these are clearly shows lack of firm conviction about moral principle. So that religious teaching, repeat 1,000 times, not much effect. So systematic education through kindergarten up to university level about moral ethics. Then religion also is become more serious or because of the sincere practitioner. Otherwise, you see, I usually call, unless we follow religion seriously or sincerely, otherwise religion teaches us practice of hypocrisy. I think myself as a holy person, holy Dalai Lama, or speak some nice thing, and then behind doing something different thing. A hypocrisy, isn't it? So recently I was in Mexico. I think last year. One a Catholic college or university or something.
University. Pontifical
uh,
University.
Pontiff University.
Pontificate.
So they invited me to talk. Many bishops there. So then I expressed, of course, my basic sort of the talk, as the religious harmony and these things. Then also I mentioned, sometimes it looks religious faith on dress. So long you dress Buddhist monk's dress or Christian sort of what's it there. That dress looks religious person. As soon as dress, Buddhist side, then no longer genuine practitioner. So one bishop, he very much sort of appreciate or love, agree. So next day he came to see me, and he very much sort of support. That my sort of comment. Very sincere, very serious. So sometimes among the believer also some corrupted people there. So that is very harmful for the teaching. Like that. Nowadays some really corrupted Tibetan Buddhist monks and Buddhist lamas, because in China, now Buddhist population over 400 millions. Now China become the biggest Buddhist populated nation, like that. So there are people, including Tibetan, exploiting that, like that. So we really need more seriously look about these matters. Break? How many minutes? 5 minutes? 5 minutes. Quick.
So we'll have a very short break, as His Holiness has requested. There is some...
Firstly, you mentioned. Then I just repeat that.
So the break is my idea, and the duration is yours.
Oh, yes. No, more precise, yes, very good.